Do you know what? Now then, people, I forgot to do the intro. Now then, people, it's George Tolley's TV. Let's forget the intro for a day. It'd be silly if I started it now. Or shall I start it now? No, we'll stay as we are. It's the big match preview. It's Chelsea, or Leeds versus Chelsea, should I say, at Ellen Road. Rivalries resumed. New manager in charge for Chelsea. Leeds United players back off the treatment table. Loads for us to get into. As you can see, I've got some fantastic guests with me. Regulars now. We've got Phil Miles. Phil, how are you, mate? All right?
I'm all good, thanks. How are all you guys doing?
All doing fab, mate. Good. All doing fab, yeah. Rhiannon, how are you after your watch-along debut, smashing it out of the park?
Yeah, I'm doing great, thanks. Looking forward to tomorrow as well. It'll be great.
I'm not. I'm nervous, you know. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not. Chris, nice to see your debut on the big match preview. How are you doing, mate?
All good, mate. Yeah, I am looking forward to tomorrow as well. Yeah. I'm with Rhiannon. Yeah, I don't know. I've just got a funny feeling about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I hope you're right, mate. 'Cause no one's given us much hope, and normally, like you say, when we're in that sort of mindset, and I'm in that mindset, we turn up for the Bucks. It was similar at Liverpool, you know, at the start of the season. No one gave us a cat and hell's chance. Even fans were saying, "Oh, take a point," you know. And look, I know we lost in the end, but there you go. For those asking where Oscar is, he will be with us. He's just on his way home from work, so sit tight. He will be joining us. Don't worry, you don't want to miss the big match preview. If you're watching, please smash a like on the stream, share, subscribe. I was late putting it out. My apologies, Phil. Made me put that shit out on social media because I forgot to do it. So yeah, smash a like on the stream. Let's get as many people in as we can. And yeah, we will leave it there for intros, I think. And let's talk about the game then. So, Jamie Shackleton back. Phillips, Rodrigo. Obviously, Phillips played a full 90 last time out. Rodrigo came on. How do we, I guess, Phil, I'll come to you first of all. With us almost being at a full bill of health, yeah. You know, and Robin Cox now training with the team as well. How do you expect us to line up tomorrow morning? You know, do you expect any changes to come in for this game?
I think there will be changes. I expect Bielsa to go strong. I think, don't get me wrong, I understand he might want to stick with whatever he's used previously, but we have to go strong. If Cooper is out, Cox back. Do we see Cox go straight in? Do we see Cox and Llorente together, which would be very interesting? Obviously, Stroik's not around. Stroik's definitely injured. So that would be a very interesting one. Obviously, I know we've always thought Bielsa doesn't like to rush people straight back into the first team, but we've seen him do it with Llorente before. We've seen him do it with Rodrigo. I think Rodrigo, Calvin have to start simply because of who I'm playing. I'd like to think that Rodrigo didn't start the last game because he was saving him for this one. I really hope that's true. I think the biggest question is around Mateusz Klich, really, and it is if Klich's fit enough, and if he's not, can we rest him for this game, and can we put Alioski at left back and allow Dallas to play in midfield? Because we were talking off there, there's those two tens for Chelsea, which Captain's going to struggle with those two on his own. If Dallas is in midfield, I'd like to think that Dallas would be able to help out there, and then obviously we're against a back three, which would mean that Bamford is probably going to be joined in a more attacking role by Rodrigo, I'd imagine. I wouldn't like to see Tyler Roberts start. Nothing personal. I just think we need Rodrigo on the pitch.
Yeah, I agree with you as well. It's going to be interesting. I know you mentioned there Cooper as well. People in the chat mention it. Possibly Cooper might be out. I don't know whether or not it's true. I've seen some rumours that he wasn't in the training video. I mean, let's be honest. We've done well to get him, you know, him to have a full belt of health. How far we got into the season. He's probably due a little sidelining injury, possibly, you know, because he's had them in the past. I'm not sure. But look, if it isn't true, or if it is, Chris, if it is true, would you want to see Cox? Because Bielsa said he'd like him to play some under-23s games first, didn't he? And I think we play Newcastle or something on Friday, possibly, and he wants to see him in that game first before he gives him game time. But if Cooper is out, we know Strauch's out. I know Hugh O'Donnell's just mentioned it there. Would you rather rush Cox back or play Berardi?
It's a really tough one. I guess it's a question we can't properly answer because we don't know what level of fitness Koch is at. Yeah. If he's 90% fit and no risk of re-injury on what he's been recovering from, then I'd obviously go Koch. If he's down at 50% fitness and needs under 23 time, then throw Berra in. You know what? It's Chelsea, innit? I'd quite like to see Berra against Chelsea just to get into him. It's sad if Coops misses it because, contrary to I think a lot of people's opinions, he's been pretty decent. He's always got a mistake in him as Coops. We know that, but he's been decent, and I think it'll be a real loss if he's gone. So preferably Koch and Llorente, but if it's Berra, so be it. Let's get Berra in there and get him to hack a few.
Yeah, be nice, wouldn't it? It'd be nice. It's mad you say that about Cooper because, as we know, we tweeted out from All Leeds TV this week, he's actually in the WhoScored.com team of the season thus far. Obviously, this is based on a number of metrics. Phil will probably be able to tell us more. I know it's not the fable and it gets a bit of stick at times, just WhoScored.com, but ultimately, due to his numbers, he's in there for the team of the season thus far. I get he's not in, he shouldn't be because you've got the likes of Stones and Diaz, etc. But just based on outputs, he's there, and you know, people give him a lot of stick. Every time we lose, it's Cooper's fault, even though he hasn't been anywhere near the defensive frailties or whatever. We had it against West Ham. Cooper was getting stick. I remember someone in the comments mentioning it, and I was just, like, not buying into it. Hey, Oscar, nice to see you, mate.
How are we, guys? How are we?
Oh, good, mate. Yeah, we're just talking about
Oscar.
Yeah, we're just talking about Cooper being the best centre back in the league.
You can't argue with stats.
No, exactly, mate. You can't. But Rhiannon, before we come to Oscar, because we know Oscar likes to talk about centre backs, and
it's a ban on to me talking about centre backs.
We know he likes to talk about Cox. Robin Cox. So we'll get to that in a second. But Rhiannon, where does your head lie if Cooper is out? Berardi, Koch, who do you go with? Or do you put KP in there? Is there a case for KP to drop in at centre back?
If we stick with a similar formation, I don't want KP to move out of his CDM position. I mean, Bielsa's made the CDM KP's own, and we've sort of built the team around him. So I wouldn't want to take him out of that. I'm a massive fan of Robin, and I've been waiting for him to come back.
Very funny.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that. When we even signed him at the start of the season, and then we signed Llorente, I always thought that they would end up being the centre-back partnership we would move forward with in the future. So it would be nice to see a bit of a glimpse of what it could potentially look like going forward. Yeah. But like Chris said, if Robin's only 50% fit, I wouldn't want to risk him, and I'd put Berardi in.
Yeah, I don't know if Oscar, if you've seen this, there's news or rumours on social media. We know what social media can be like. We might be well off the mark, but apparently Cooper's not been seen in this training video, and Robin Koch has, and he's been training with the guys. Obviously, he was earmarked for by Bielsa in the press conference for an under-23s game against Newcastle on Monday. I said Friday earlier, but it's Monday. Would you like to see him put straight in, mate, if Cooper's out?
Well, first of all, the Twitter rumours. Someone could put out on Twitter that Lucas Radebe is starting tomorrow, and there'll be people who believe it. You know what I mean? It's the thing is, I agree with Rhiannon. I think you've got to keep your specialists in their best position. So KP has to stay where he is. Absolutely no doubt about that. I wouldn't rush Robin Koch back in. I think the main thing is we can get in for another 7-8, the last 7-8 games of the season. If it means him missing another 2 or 3 weeks, no problem at all. I'd be more than happy to go with Berra. If that's the only option left, then I guess Berra. I mean, is there anything on Struijk at all?
No, he's not
still out.
Yeah.
It'd have to be Berra then for me. And it's not ideal. Berra again being rushed straight back in, but I'm comfortable with that.
I mean, I mean this with the best will in the world. It's not ideal with Berra full stop, regardless of injury. We're talking.
See, I think that's
no.
hard.
I love Berra, mate. I love Berra, right? But
yeah.
There's a difference in quality. We're talking Premier League, man.
Yeah, but if we're talking about, say, look at last season, the difference between Cooper and Berardi wasn't that big for me last season. I know Cooper was the better player, but Berardi was superb when he came in last season.
No,
I don't get the difference.
I love them.
Look, Cooper's the better player. Look, if you're asking me, who do I want playing against Tammy Abraham or Werner tomorrow? It's Cooper every day of the week. It's Llorente every day of the week. But look, it's not. Berra, we all know, Berra himself knows, he won't be starting games at this level unless there's injuries or a suspension. No. And I'm comfortable with him coming in because let's not forget, it's just, I know, I'm going to sound like cagey now in terms of the quality sense, but I don't mind that little bit of oomph in the team because I just think there's not much confidence, I don't think, around the fan base going into the game tomorrow. And I just think Berra in that team tomorrow crunching into a tackle in the first 5-6 minutes. I just think it'll lift everyone. I know there's no fans in the ground, but I just think it'll lift the whole team a little bit in that kind of sense because we're not on a great run, are we, to be fair? I know we're not panicking, but we're not on a fantastic run, to be fair. It's not. Is it 4 out of 6 we lost?
Yeah.
It's, it's not ideal having Berra in there, but I don't think it's as bad as what people make out. I don't see how it's any worse than having Alioski at left back, if I'm being totally honest. And I don't see why Berra gets this stick of not being a Premier League quality player when he's done well in the Championship for us, and then Alioski is all of a sudden that's okay for him to play left back.
I don't know if he's getting that stick. It's more just my viewpoint. Listen, I love Berra. I do. I love Berardi. The song Gaetano is probably my favourite chant, if I'm being totally honest. That's just, Gaetano, it's an absolute banger. But I don't know. When I seen him come back in training, I was like tweeted out, yes. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, it could be a little bit of a step too far, if we're being totally honest. But Phil, I don't know, your camera's off, so I don't know if you're smiling, grimacing, or what it is. But what are your thoughts? Smiling. What are your thoughts on Berardi, mate, in the Premier League?
I don't think he's going to be too enthused if he's watched the last 5 minutes. I'll put it that way. I love him, man. Like, just for top quality, like, Berardi's going to shoot from 30 yards. He's going to score. And even though we're all 100 miles away or wherever we're watching it from, all of us on our insides, we are on that pitch with him.
Yeah.
If he gets on the pitch, if he plays, like, happy for him. I can see what people say where, like, quality-wise, but we don't know. We haven't seen him in the Premier League, so I don't think you can say it yet. So, yeah, if he plays, he plays. But I also think the same thing with Cooper is you've just got to go back to it's a rumour on Twitter. Just because he's not in a training video doesn't mean that he's not going to play. He could be getting managed. He could be missing training for a reason. Who cares? If Berardi plays, put it this way, we haven't lost 3 Premier League games on the trot all season. There's a strong chance we may do that tomorrow. But, you can lose games and it not be a disaster. We may get tonked. We may get 6-2 again like United. Who cares? I mean, we've got a good game coming up.
That's like,
I'd rather not.
No, I don't want it to come across as negative.
No, I get it. Mate.
I want people to understand that we are allowed to talk about tomorrow not going well, but also be able to say, who cares? Like, if you look at, I'd say since January, we had that 3-game period, if you include the Crawley game, where we lost 3 on the bounce. And since then, I don't recall, other than the Arsenal game where we had an hour where we were just, what are we doing? The games and the patterns of play in those games themselves have been, we've dominated for large periods. We've got sloppy for 20 minutes, let them have a period of dominance. They've taken advantage of their period. Then we go back to dominating the game and we don't capitalise, and sometimes we win, sometimes we lose.
Yeah. No. I hear you, man. I hear you. I just, you know what I'm like when I'm hosting, if I see comments and they get me triggered, I'm just going to pick up on Mr. Mega King Richard. Says Cooper is Championship quality. Liam Cooper's been our best defender this season. Fact. He's in the WhoScored.com team of the season. And he's also...
Come on, Wayne, then.
What? He's not...
Our best centre-back this season.
Well, don't give me Robin Cocker's played about 8 games.
Why not? Why not Robin Koch, Pascal Struijk? When Struijk's played there. Why not?
It's almost. No, I'm not having that, mate. Robin
based
Koch,
on performances, I would say Koch or Struijk the best two.
Charlie goes right. I could go in at centre back and have an absolute screamer for one game and be like, best centre back of the season.
He's played a lot more games. Right.
How many games has he played?
I'll have a look for you in a second. How many Cooper missed the start of the season as well?
Because Cooper's had 2 injuries, hasn't he? Both
it's sound like
international breaks.
Oh. You're a Cooper here. You and Mega King Richard need to go.
Right. I'm going to score to a target, though.
Send Oscar a DM.
I'm going to get a Graham Souness reputation, but I've got to mention if Berardi's playing. Right, if Berardi's playing.
Stop, he might watch you.
I've got to admit, of all the centre-backs for him to play alongside, probably Llorente be the least comfortable because they're both a little bit rash. I think they're both diving a little bit. And it might sound like I'm a Graham Souness on Paul Pogba now in terms of Oscar Marriott on Diego Llorente. But I'm just being honest. I just think that might be a little bit of a emotional back two, to be fair. They are very emotional men. There could be a potential for a red card there if Timo Werner winds one of them up. But, if we're 4-0 down anyway.
Let me just pick up on a net. If you're okay with this, Oscar, if you're okay with me having a go at Mega King Richard, mate, I don't know if you'll be okay. It's
an outrageous thing to come out with, saying he's a championship quality. Look at who scored, mate. Team of the season.
And also, Mega King Richard also states Meslier shouldn't be anywhere near.
No. It's Kiko Garcia. It's Kiko Garcia. It's getting
Delete your message to Oscar. Delete your message. He's had enough. But Meslier broke the record for the most clean sheets for a player under the age of 21. He is officially the best young goalkeeper to ever play in the Premier League. Fact. So that's wrong, Mega King Richard. That is wrong. Okay. Yeah,
I would say Struijk's been our best centre-back, though, out of them all. In terms of based on purely performance, I'd say Struijk, personally. In terms I think he's been excellent.
I don't think Struijk's been good. To talk about centre-backs anymore.
No, I'm not having that either. No, he's been good, but Cooper's been the best, I think, over the amount of games we've played.
Yeah, but I'm not. I know Cooper's been excellent since New Year. Since the New Year, Cooper's been the best of the lot. No doubt about that. Cooper's been the best. But think about some of the games before Christmas.
So basically, as soon as Koch got injured, Cooper's been the best. But when Koch's back,
no. Right. I've just said Pascal Struijk was our best centre back this season so far on performances. Don't stop putting words into my mouth. You Berardi hater, by the way. Honestly, I think it's a clean sheet tomorrow.
No, mate, it's all fun. It's all fun again. Right, let's move on from centre backs. Just move on.
I'm happy to. Please do. Never talk about them again.
Yeah. Although we could get into the thing that Ben White's been linked to them. Oh, that was me.
Who's that? Who's Ben White?
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Hashtag who's Ben White?
Yeah. So that's defence, right? We don't know if Cooper's out. Like Phil said, it's just a rumour. Who cares until tomorrow at 11 p.m. or 11:30 when we get the lineup? We'll check it out. But one thing that I will say, and I feel bad for advocating it because I'm a massive supporter of his and I love him as an individual and as a player. But is it time, do we think, Chris, for Klich to come out now and Dallas to play in centre midfield, or maybe even Shaq's available and put Dallas at left back or Alioski at left back? What are your thoughts, mate?
I think so, mate. And I'm a massive fan of Klich. He's an absolute beast. But there's something not right at the minute, whether it is this injury or there's something not right at the minute. And I'd just like to see the lad get a rest if it's possible. For me, if Coops is fit, we should start with the team that finished against West Ham. So Rodrigo and Dallas in midfield in front of KP, or even Dallas alongside KP if Chelsea are going to play that 2-10 formation. And then Rodrigo up and in and around Paddy Bamford. We need to get nearer to Bamford. That's for one. But for me, Klichi at least needs a rest. If not, he needs to go away. And if he is injured, he needs his surgery or whatever. And he deserves to go away and be able to have that treatment or have that rest. He's been an absolute beast for 2.5 seasons now. And I think Phil said before, what we don't want to see is an Adam Forshaw incident where we never see him back again. He's earned his credits. Give the lad a rest.
Yeah. This might sound mad, but I'd be happy for him as a thing to say, do you know what, Klich? I don't know if you agree with this, Rhiannon. Have the rest of the season off and get yourself ready for the Euros, mate. Because he's going to end up running himself into the ground, being overused, and probably miss the fucking Euros. And that'd be heartbreaking for him.
Yeah, it would. The thing is, I mean, I rate Klich, and I think he's been an absolute godsend to us. I mean, especially because he's done for us to help us get promoted and everything. But I struggle replacing him with Shax. I just don't think he's the complete package yet. I mean, I know he's in the under-23s and that, but he still doesn't have Shax doesn't have that defensive mind to his skill set at the moment. I mean, obviously he's still got time to work on it. So I would put Dallas in midfield. I mean, everyone was shouting at me when I said, "Don't play Stroik at CDM. Put Dallas in midfield." And everyone's like, "No, Stroik should go CDM." It says, "No, put Dallas in midfield," because like we've played him at left back for the whole of the whole of the championship season. He does have a defensive skill set, so I reckon he'd do a good job in midfield, and then put Alioski at left back.
I want to know who these folk are that's been shouting at I'll send the boys round. Chris, you're muted, mate.
Yeah, what Vixen Tash was it, Rhiannon?
No,
Definitely not. But yeah, I mean, look, I've seen a few people, Phil, mention about obviously if Dallas is going into midfield, if we fully expect that change to happen, it might not. Because my thing is with this Klich injury thing, I have to agree with. I don't think Bielsa will play him, man. I don't think Bielsa will play him, so I'm not so sure. I don't know, but would we be happy with Alioski starting at left back if that was the case, especially with like Reece James bombing on, and you know you're probably going to have on that side Callum Hudson-Odoi. It's going to be a tall task for Alioski.
The one thing we've got to do, sorry, Phil. The one thing we've got to do if Alioski does play is Jack has got to start in front of him.
Yeah, and I agree with that 1,000,000%. I think, right, even if it's not an injury, we've all sat here for weeks, and if we're making the excuse that there's an injury, Bielsa himself has said there's something to do with an injury. Phil Hay says it virtually every week. Every other podcast going is talking about it. It can't be like a figment of our imaginations. Like there is something going on, but if there isn't, why have we all been sat here talking about him dipping? And then perhaps that question is still answered by we do need someone that isn't dipping at this moment in time for a game like tomorrow, which is why I'd still end up with the same answer. I think Dallas should go into midfield. He's been the opposite lately when he's moved into midfield. He's not dipping at all. He's getting better when you put him in midfield than he is at left back. Alioski did okay when he came on against West Ham, and it is very much a partnership between him and Jack Harrison on the left. And if they're together and Harrison picks up a bit, then ideally, fingers crossed, there's no reason why it couldn't go well tomorrow. But end of the day, whatever happens in tomorrow's game result-wise, it doesn't necessarily have an actual reflection automatically on that partnership on the left-hand side. We have to sort of take tomorrow's result with a pinch of salt. If we win, fantastic. If we get a draw, fantastic. If we lose or we get tonked, we just need to focus on the performances of the players individually, collectively, in their partnerships, in their link-ups between each other. I think it's an important game that at the start of the season when the fixtures were announced, we were all looking forward to this game. A little bit of that needle is lost now with Lampard not being there. Agreed. A little bit of that needle's lost from our side because I honestly don't think a lot hinges on this game. If we lose, we don't go down. If we win, we're still not going to get Europe. Like, a little bit of that edge has gone from this game. So let's just learn something from the game. Let's see what we can do if that is that left-hand side combination, and let's see how it fares against a Hudson-Odoi or who they could play anybody, couldn't they? So let's see how it fares against them.
Yeah.
Look at second half on Monday night. I think the question you have to ask is, did we look better before or after we put Dallas in midfield and Alioski to left back? Yeah. I thought we dominated second half, to be honest, when we made the change. Yeah. It's not perfect, Alioski at left back, but we've seen evidence that we are a better team at this moment in time with Dallas in midfield than Klich, and that hurts. That actually hurts, but it hurts more watching Klich like this, because I agree with Phil. It might not officially be an injury, but there's something not right. You can see it, when we're even trying to press.
He can be on the bench. We don't have to get him gone or anything.
Exactly.
Give him a rest, let him be on the bench.
Yeah. Look at it when the opposition has the ball. I don't see that same Klich pressing. It feels like he's playing within himself. And if he's trying to, I think he's almost trying to play every single game, now, and then the Euros, he's just trying to get himself through it. And I don't think that's working for him. I just think he needs a rest. And on the bench is no problem. If we don't need to bring him off the bench, then we're fine. But it's hard seeing Klich like this. There's no way for me that I've not seen a player in a Bielsa team drop off this much in terms of from what he was at the start of the season to what he is the last couple of weeks. And I just think it can't be a lack of ability. And I've seen a couple of people say he's not Prem quality. Okay, he based it on the last few weeks, but look what he's done over the season. Kevin De Bruyne, he dominated that battle against Kevin De Bruyne at Ellen Road, less than 4 months ago. Liverpool, you ran the game at Anfield. There's a serious talent in there, and okay, you might be getting a bit older, and you might be feeling it a little bit more. But I just think there's something else in it. There's another external factor. It's not just Klich's level dropping. There's something else to it, which is sad to see. But I just think he needs a rest.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I'm a big supporter of his. And people have short memories, man. People don't remember. They only remember the last game, right? And like you've just mentioned there, he was amazing, was Klich. I was going on different podcasts and people were talking about him, and I was, and they were waxing lyrical about him, etc. So, come on, man, it's short memories. Yes, he's not been great of late, and there's probably is reasons behind that, but I think he deserves a little bit more respect. I think for me, I was listening, like I say, I was listening to All Stats Aren't We, and they were looking at these 2-10s that Chelsea play and who'll be adopted to because what they're saying as well is obviously with them playing a 3-4-2-1, that, with the wing backs, with them playing 3 at the back as well, they fully expect whoever is in to be playing alongside Bamford, if it's Rodrigo, if it's Roberts, to help with that 3, because obviously Paddy he's going to be chasing shadows if he's expected to do that job on his own, And they made the point of saying that maybe our fullbacks will be brought in field to mark the 2-10s, like Ayling might be on Mount. And this is where my thing is, I would prefer Dallas at left back to do that job on Hudson-Odoi or whoever he goes with in that role than an Alioski.
And who goes in midfield, though?
Who?
I don't know. I'm asking you. Who goes in midfield?
Right, okay. Shaq.
Yeah.
It
doesn't give me as much confidence if it's Alioski and Dallas. I know
it gives me more confidence. Yeah, no, it's a great point, but it gives me more confidence knowing that Dallas is at left back.
Yeah, but if you take Dallas back to left back, you lose the centre mid role, which is already the thing we're trying to replace because we think Klich's not playing. So there's more pegs going in different holes that are confusing, I think.
Not for me. I think Shaq's done all right in there when he has been employed. Apart from Leicester, I think against Aston Villa he was good. I understand it. I just think that would be better.
I actually, you know what? There's a different feeling towards Shaqs than there is Roberts, because at the end of the day, Shaqs is, he's actually a Leeds lad, come up through the ranks. I think he needs a season out on loan in the Championship. Exactly the same as I said about Tyler in the past. He needs to go and be a bit of a big fish in a slightly smaller pond, and then come back. I don't think Shaqs is ready for the Premier League on any sort of scale at the minute yet. And he's a great player. There's a massive player in there, huge potential, but I just think there's too big a gaping hole when we play Shaqs in that midfield. I'd much preferred Stewie in there, just with that game knowledge and experience for me.
No, that's fair enough. And I've seen people mention Leaf and stuff, and just putting it out there, playing devil's advocate. We'll have to wait and see. It'll probably come tomorrow at 11:30, and Klich will still be in there, and Dallas will be at left back. That'll be the facts behind it, probably, to be honest.
You can't put Leaf in there, though.
I've seen people in the comments
against Hudson-Odoi, his debut, his full debut in the Premier League against Hudson-Odoi. I think that's a mega ask. I can't see that. I mean, it's an option, but I'd much rather Leaf. If we were going to bring him in for a period of time, start with Fulham. Don't start with Chelsea.
True.
The hardest game.
So true, mate. Let's have a little chat about Chelsea then. Obviously, we've mentioned that Tuchel came in after Frank Lampard had an absolute stinker. Not many of us are surprised by that. We knew that was going to be the case. We told everyone, we shouted it from the rooftops. No one believed it. He got the sack. I mean, we did an opposition preview yesterday, and there were great lads coming on, but there was still this thing like that. He built the foundations for Tuchel to. I'm not buying it.
I asked for clarification. You'll notice I did ask for clarification.
Yeah, you did ask for clarification, and I still didn't agree with the answer. If I'm being honest, great guy, though. I'm not thingy, but I just no foundations were built there.
You know that like last season with Chelsea, and they had a good season with the kids, as we call it. For me, the reason they had a good season is the transfer ban was on, and do you remember like our -15 season? It was like. Fuck this. If you want to try and put us against the wall and make us and create a blockers for us, we're going to go out and prove you wrong. Yeah. It was nothing to do, or very little to do with Lampard. He took Derby from 6th to 6th. Yeah. But yet he improved them as well. I mean, come on. I don't. The FA's love child, isn't he? Let's be honest. And the media.
It is a bit of a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because you want Chelsea to sack him. They get a new manager in Tuchel. A little part of you says, I want them to do well so that we can be proved right that Frank was no good. But now they're doing well. It's like, no, I don't want them to do well anymore. The point's been proven, you know.
I've been back now.
Yeah, came back because this genuinely, I'm the most nervous for. It's like Oscar, we were talking about it yesterday and we did score predictions, and it's the first time I went for a point and Oscar was like, I think you think we're going to lose then, because normally you back us to the hill. But there's something about this game, Oscar, that I'm worried about, mate. I am worried about, because last time out we got beat 3-1, obviously different manager, but it was the first real game for me as a Leeds United fan this season when I was like, wow, that quality is just... You know, they took control, like you mentioned, Kante, and they just absolutely bossed us, especially in the second half. So do you expect more of the same, mate, from Tuchel in terms of how he'll set them up?
Well, yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? They'll probably have one less midfield. I think they went 4-3-3 last time, didn't they? They had Mount, Kante, Kovacic came on and was superb, well, to be fair, when he came on. And that's probably the best I think I've seen a team play against us all season, to be honest, in terms of from minute 1 to 90, especially if we scored after 2 minutes. You think their heads could have gone at that point, you know, in terms of, it's happening again, Frank Lampard, all this lot. But they actually, to be fair, and they missed some chances. Werner probably could have had a hat-trick on the night. Meslier kept us in it. And that's probably, you know, we talk about the 6-2s, the 3-0 against Tottenham, the 4-1 at Palace, 4-1 against Leicester. That was still a more dominant performance. Chelsea just weren't clinical on the night. And I'm expecting probably it's not going to be worse. They're going to be better. That's the only way if I'm being totally honest. They're only going to get better now. I think obviously the full-backs, the wing-backs, you know, the 2 number 10s, it's going to play havoc with our man-to-man marking system. And we've got to score first, because I think the inevitability is if we concede first, we're in big trouble. Chelsea don't concede goals. They're lightning quick on the counter. People like Werner, you know, stretching the pitch, Havertz, you know, even Pulisic might come on. He won't start, but he might come on. Hudson-Odoi, you know, some of these players didn't even play last time. You know, Hudson-Odoi didn't even play last time. So they've got massive threats. I think obviously Kante is kind of back to his best. Jorginho is starting to perform a little bit, you know, of what they said. And Kovacic was getting a lot of love off the 2 Chelsea fans yesterday. And it's going to be a really tough game. And to be fair, the big concern for me is when they're playing out the back, the 3 centre-backs against Paddy. You know, I know Rodrigo will play and probably play quite close to Paddy, but there's going to be times in the game where we're trying to press, and they're just going side to side to side to side to side to side to side, and it's almost like it's going to be like 11 versus 10 at times in the game with the way they set up. But I think even going forwards, we're going to have to make sure whoever does play centre mid, they're both getting in that box, they're both up and supporting Bamford and trying to break him down that way. But the only hope I've got is if Alonso plays. I'm looking at Rafinha, and I'm 99.9% sure Harrison will start on the left wing. I can't see a situation where he's going to play Costa and try and get Costa following the wing backs all the way back into their half for 90 minutes. I just don't see it. So if Rafinha goes on the right, him against Alonso, him against Chilwell, that's where we'll get any joy, if we're going to get any joy at all. And if Kepa plays, it's anyone's game. If Kepa plays, to be fair, but he won't be. He'll be Mendy. I don't think Mendy's that great. He's just a lot better than Kepa. I've seen him make a couple of mistakes himself. So yeah, there's a few weaknesses, but Rafinha's got to be on it for us to get anything tomorrow. Rafinha's going to have to be at a lot better than what he was in the last couple of games, to be fair. And he's not been bad, but he's got to be at his absolute peak tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree. I think he'll go with Alonso. And if he does, going forward, Alonso's great. He's great in a back three system, not so much a back four, but I think he can be, got at, in transition if we can get that ball into Rodrigo. My concern is that Rodrigo doesn't start. Roberts is trying to, dribble, and he's got Kante on his back or whatever, and it's gonna be a bit of a nightmare. I look across the full pitch and
counter attack after counter.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's concerning. Rhiannon, what are you worried about Chelsea tomorrow? What are your thoughts?
The only way I'd be worried about Chelsea is depending on the team that we put out. Because if Costa starts, Roberts starts, and Dallas isn't in midfield, I'm shitting bricks.
Yeah.
Put it simply. We might as well just give them a win. I might as well give him the 3 points, because we'll get done in 4-0 in the first half if we play that. Play with them players. The only way we're going to stand a chance is if we put Dallas in midfield. I know it means Alioski at left back, but this is what I say. We need to play Harrison, and if we have Dallas in midfield, Rodrigo, Rafinha is going to get service and he's going to play well. I always you can tell Rafinha gets so frustrated because he doesn't get service, and he struggled when Struijk was in CDM. I think as long as KP is in the CDM position, we've got Dallas in midfield and also Rodrigo playing. Rafinha will just light it up, and hopefully we'll keep on with the counter attacks and just. And hopefully we won't trouble our goalkeeper with much to do.
Yeah,
I mean, I have full confidence in Meslier, but yeah, you just don't know with their tricks and flares and.
From your voice, I'm not getting full confidence, Rihanna. I'm not getting full confidence. You can say it. I can tell you don't make it.
No, literally, if you asked me for a score prediction, I'd go with a draw.
You go with a draw, you take a draw. Yeah, I think that's when we're going for draws, we're all like, listen, we're at home, we'll just take a draw. Just give us a draw, please. Phil, if Leeds are to win the game, how do we win it, brother? How? Because I know you're a bit. I guess you're being a bit of a realist and saying, look, it's probably highly likely we lose the game, and it's not to worry if we do. And I hear what you're saying. I think I don't even
want to try and be a realist. I'm not going to lie to you. I think everybody needs to. There's a bit of a caveat to what I'm about to say. Everybody needs to have some sort of sense that nobody on this podcast is saying that Leeds United do not have the capacity to beat Chelsea tomorrow. We're not saying that. I fully believe my team could happily go out, and if we do what we did against Liverpool, against Man City, we could go out and do something tomorrow. But I want to apply a bit of a wider context to the entire situation. Like, Leeds haven't beaten Chelsea since 2002. Terry Venables was in charge, man. Johnny Woodgate and James Milner scored the goals. Since then, the contrasting paths of the two clubs leaves us in a situation where we are today, where their full squad is 4 times more expensive than ours. So for us to get a result against a team like that, it's a big job. And that's not like we're taking the piss a little bit about Frank Lampard, but he came and beat us, and for the first time, in my opinion, I don't think he did it with Derby, but for the first time, he used tactics and actually got something out of us. And it's easy to do that when you've got far better players and far more expensively assembled players. So they're unbeaten in 11 under Thomas Tuchel. They've actually got a manager that knows tactical things now. So perhaps with that and with the players they've got, we're on an inconsistent run. For us to go and win tomorrow, we have to do everything that we possibly can to the maximum of our ability. Yeah. We need our system to work. We need Bielsa to win the tactical battle with Tuchel that perhaps, it pains me to say, he may not have won with Lampard that one time. I think we do need our best players to be playing. I think we need those players to play well. Yeah. And we need a collective performance. Bamford needs to make sure he doesn't have the same night that he had against West Ham. He needs to make sure that if that chance comes, he buries it. Meslier needs to make sure he's as good as he was in the first game against them. And, all the partnerships all over the pitch need to work.
Yeah. Chris, he's bang on the money in here. I think this is the thing. When we're agree with everything you've just said, Phil, I think Leeds United everything needs to work. Bielsa needs to get his tactics bang on how he adopts these 2-10s and how Chelsea's set up, because Tuchel ain't going to change, I don't think. I think he's more or less said that. He said, I think he said in his press conference, I don't need to. It's not a tactical battle against Bielsa. We know how Leeds play. We'll go out and do our thing. And that's a very ballsy thing, as if to say, Bielsa, we're Chelsea kind of vibe. And I get it, because they've got a load of amazing players, and and he's a great coach, and I agree with Phil. Every single player's got to play at their maximum. The system, everything's just got to come off for us to get a 3 points tomorrow.
That's why I wouldn't start Klich.
Yeah. I agree with everything Phil said. Number one, they've all got to be 100% at it tomorrow and have very, very good games at least. But there's no room for passengers tomorrow, which is why, again, I agree, Klich needs to be dropped. For me, tomorrow's simple. If we're going to get anything out of this game, and we've seen it when Rodrigo was fit, we have got to move that ball quickly. So on transition, that ball goes Llorente or Coops into Rodrigo, because we know he takes one touch, head up, and we need Harrison and Rafinha hitting the outside centre-backs of Chelsea with getting up with Paddy. That Rodrigo ball that splits through the midfield, and we've got to go at them like that. I'm no Bielsa. I'm just saying this is when we've seen Leeds at our flowing best. That's what we've seen. Rodrigo's got that ability where Tyler in that position needs 2, 3, 4, 953 touches. Rodrigo run out of his feet and bang, it's gone. And that's the way we get at Chelsea tomorrow, very quickly in the transition. If not, we could just be parked, letting them have a go at us.
Yeah. I think my concern is, Oscar, if he doesn't get it right, Bielsa, in terms of setup, Chelsea could be out of sight within 30 minutes.
Yeah, it could happen, but you've got to remember Chelsea are struggling to score goals. That might be cursing it a little bit, but they are not actually scoring that many goals. They're obviously struggling. They've not identified who their favourite centre-forward is yet. They've tried Giroud a few times. They've tried Abraham. Werner's played mostly. They even had Havertz playing false nine. They're still trying to suss it out, that front three. And to be fair,
play Giroud against us.
I would.
I was going to say, Phil, the one striker I don't want to see is Giroud. I don't want to see Giroud.
If he's on the bench, I'll feel better. Very much so.
I still think, when you got the wing backs crossing balls into Giroud, it's just a clear way of scoring, isn't it? You got James whipping balls in, Chilwell, Alonso putting balls into the box. It's just such an easy way for him to score against us. But I think even Abraham, I'd rather not see Abraham or Giroud. I'd be happy.
He's injured, mate.
Injured. Well, that's okay. Even Havertz is quite tall, so you've got that issue. Got that slight issue in terms of the height. But what I will say is, if Dallas does play midfield and he's man-marking Jorginho, I just think he's got to get as close to Jorginho as he can, because Jorginho, very talented footballer, no doubt about it, but he does sometimes try and be a bit too clever. He underhits passes. He tries to goes for that little feint, little bit of skill and that lot. And he's a good player. Don't get me wrong, very, very good player. But he can be a little bit cocky.
Do you know what?
When I watch him, I think he can be a bit cocky. And Dallas can nick the ball off him a couple of times, if you ask me.
Do you know what, Oscar? I think if that ends up being the man-to-man, Dallas versus Jorginho, I think Dallas has got him in his back pocket.
Yeah,
I
agree.
Jorginho.
I think he just tries to be too clever. I think I can see why he was so good in Serie A, because he got all the time in the world kind of thing in Serie A. But in this league, against our team, in terms of the high press, I think you've just got to be looking at Jorginho. I think even Kante, to be fair. Kante's fantastic off the ball, but he's not this fantastic world-class regista who can just spray the ball left, right, and just... Yeah, he's a very good footballer, don't get me wrong, but I think Kante and Jorginho, if we can get that press on them, I think we can win that battle of the man-to-man marking, whoever it is on them. But I think Kovacic will probably play, and he is better on the ball than all three, really. So it'll be interesting. I think obviously Mason Mount, I think he's played really well last couple of games against us. I think he's probably the one I look at and think, yeah, the form he's in, he's probably the... Yeah. I mean, it's if that's what they go with, Havertz and then Werner and Mason Mount was like the two number 10s. I'd still prefer that to Giroud in the centre forward spot. I'd still personally prefer that. I'm not happy against Werner because of his pace and he causes havoc. You know, even when he was missing chances, he still causes a lot of problems just because of his pace. A bit like Jamie Vardy in that sense. You can't. It's so good having a striker who can do that, or a forward who can just make those kind of runs. And yeah, it's going to be tough. It is going to be tough, to be fair. But I still think Jorginho plays, Kante plays. We've got to press them and not allow them any time on the ball, because they will make mistakes. They will definitely make mistakes on the day.
I think what we'll say, like someone made a good point that they've conceded only a couple of goals in the 11 games that Tuchel's been in, which is fair enough. And, you know, we spoke to the Chelsea fans yesterday who said that they don't think Leeds will score just because of how defensively sound they've been. But I don't agree with that. I do think we will still create a number of chances, and I still think fancy us to score tomorrow, you know.
Paddy will, regardless of result, Paddy will score tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, we scored last time, didn't we? Yeah. Anyone wants to take that? Anyone got any thoughts on it?
It'd be interesting if Thiago Silva plays. I'd much rather Thiago Silva didn't play, to be honest, because of his height in the box. But I still think Christensen,
really good
Zuma in that lot, they've got mistakes in them. They have got mistakes in them. I think they've been very well protected with the system in terms of having two, Kante in front of them. It makes your job so much easier. When you've got Kante in front of you, you basically got a three-man midfield protecting you because he's just absolutely everywhere. But I still think Christensen's got mistakes in him, to be fair. I think obviously we've already touched on Alonso, Zuba. Other than Thiago Silva, I don't think any of them specifically stand out individually. They've all got the odd mistake in them. It's just, can we get the ball into that final third enough and ask enough questions? That's what we've got to do. We've got to be asking questions of them all the time. Chris has said it. Rafinha, Harrison, they've got to be getting at those outside centre-backs because they're not the most mobile. They won't like coming up against a Rafinha. They'll be used to playing against two strikers because I very much get. Yeah, I mean, Azpilicueta, to be fair, I think has been a very, very, very good player in this league. Probably one of the best kind of centre halves, all round defenders in the last sort of 5-6 years. But again, for me, still a very good leader in that lot. He's still got mistakes in him, so I don't think they're as perfect as what the numbers will say, and they still struggle to score goals. So I don't think it's impossible for us to win. I really don't think it's impossible for us to win the game. I'm not sure we will. I don't think we will, to be honest. But if we're on it from the first 10 minutes, and we've said it before, you can tell what Leeds are going to do from the first 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And if we're on it again, let's just hope if we do put the ball in the back of the net, VAR's not going to stick its neck in at some point.
Yeah, I'm just going to speak. I swear this guy. I'm telling you now, Mr. King Richard, that's not true. That's not true. Anyway. Right. Mega King Richard has got me triggered now. But who is backing us to win tomorrow? Go on, Chris.
Yes,
Chris. Tell us why, man. Tell us.
2-1. And that is if we start with the team that we said, like, hopefully if Coops is fit, the team that finished against West Ham. I've got us at 2-1. One, they haven't been beaten in 11 games. Undefeated runs have got to come to an end at some point. Two, someone mentioned it in the comments. Will they rest a couple for Wednesday? Don't get me wrong, doesn't necessarily make them weaker. That's a hell of a squad they've got. There's just something about this game that says if we're on it, and we have to be on it, and it's another Man City game, but we've got it in us to go and beat them, I think 2-1. Paddy will score, and I'm going to throw it out there and say Stewie Dallas gets the other one.
Nice. That would be nice. Listen.
And you lose his Jorginho, his marker.
yeah. Skins him. Megs.
Yeah. I think... Sorry, just let me answer my man.
Oh, right. Can I just do this?
Go ahead. Yeah.
I don't even want to do it. Do we have weak players, really? Do we have any weak spots?
He's weaker than Melly.
Yeah. Okay.
And...
let me guess. You're going to say Berardi now, aren't you? You massive Berardi.
Berardi's weaker than Cooper, though. So is Alioski, all these sort of things. So Mega King Richard, I'm convinced, is not a Leeds United fan. But do you know what? I said 1-1 yesterday. I've just done some Premier League predictions on the Just Joe football channel, by the way. Make sure you check that out. And I did go for 2-1 Leeds, but that was just because I don't know if I can say it with my chest the way Chris can. But there is something in the fact that no one's given us any sort of hope. Even Leeds United fans are preparing themselves for, you know what, we probably may get beaten, then we'll see, what happens after that.
Does it remind you of Leicester a bit? Leicester away?
Yeah, I was just about to say, Oscar, we went to Leicester, we'd had a slapping from them at home, and everyone was like, and everyone was going, it's a free hit, because basically what a free hit means is we think we've got absolutely no hope. Well, and we pumped him, so why not?
Yeah,
it did help that agree. Vardy was out though.
Well, there is that.
There's Tammy Abraham. Same, innit?
Yeah, I don't think so. Let's have a little chat about the pitch. Obviously, we're back at Ellen Road. It's an absolute shocking. Almost akin to that FA Cup game that we played back in the 70s with Chelsea. It's almost as bad as that was, to be fair. Do we think that can have any sort of impact on the game, Rhiannon?
I think it can, yeah. I just think we're just absolutely have we been sold a dodgy pitch? Like, I don't know how that is an improvement on the last pitch we had. I really don't.
Yeah,
I mean, because it's
Daniel Levy's laughing.
Bamford came out, wasn't it, after the Palace match and said I had to change to rugby studs. Yeah. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But I'm hoping that we're used to it because we did actually win against Southampton on that pitch. So
yeah, injured Romeu in the process, out for the season.
So
no great loss.
So I'm hoping we're like used to it now, and we can use it to our advantage, and then just let them slip all over the place.
Yeah.
And then go on a counter attack, and then score a goal.
True, guys. Do you, Phil? Is it possibly an advantage for Leeds now? The fact that we've played on it?
No.
It's not. It's not. It doesn't even give us a little edge over Chelsea in that respect.
No, because they probably played on it more times than we have when you think about it. Daniel Levy is sat somewhere just cradling this 300 grand that we've given them for this, and he's just thinking that's like Miss Firth has said, payback for Jack Clark. We're still stroking that 9 million quid that they gave us for him. So I suppose we're equal now. No, there's still, like I said before, when the fixture lists were printed out at the start of the season, this is the kind of game Leeds United fans were looking forward to. Let's hope the pitch doesn't. Let's hope we're not talking about the pitch tomorrow night. Let's hope Pat Bamford in his press conference isn't saying he changed studs. It would be fantastic for us to sit here tomorrow night and go, well, we all thought we were going to lose. Look what's happened. This is the moment we wanted to be in the Premier League for. This is what we've waited 16 years for. I would hate for us to have, like, Paul Gascoigne World Cup moment, studs, blade of grass difference between us getting that result. I don't want the pitch to be the reason that we don't get a win. Like, let it be because of how we play.
Or VAR.
Well, yeah, that'll do it.
Man,
They'll get a penalty or something because VAR hates us.
I was wondering what angle you were going with when you said Paul Gascoigne. I was automatically thinking the tears thing. I was thinking, no, we don't want that. We don't want that.
I don't want 1 millimeter or like a pitch, a bobble. Like, I don't want anything to come between us and this moment tomorrow if we have got it in us to go and win it.
Yeah. I don't mean to be pedantic, but I'm going to be anyway. That was actually Euro 96, mate.
I'm aware of that. I didn't say it wasn't.
You said the World Cup.
Anyway, right. Listen, we're coming towards an end. I want to get a player from each of you who has to have an unbelievable game tomorrow in order for Leeds to get a win, and the reason as to why. And you can't have the same player, all right? So I'm going to go first.
That's cheeky.
And I'm going to say Patrick Bamford. And the reason being is
Easy
Bamford, he has to have his shooting boots on tomorrow. As we've said, we need to play at our highest level. And if we do get the chances, they have to go in the back of the net. Because if he misses chances like he did against West Ham, then we're definitely going to lose the game because Chelsea have that little bit of clinicality. I know they've not been scoring many goals, but they have, players across the full pitch that can do so. So I'm going to go with that. I'll let Rhiannon go next. So Rhiannon, who's your pick and why?
I'm going to say Llorente, simply for the fact that he does have it in his locker. He can play along the floor. I just hope if it comes to it, he's worked on his aerial threat and actually can defend for his life. Exactly, actually mark someone and actually prove to us, that he has got all elements to his game and keep quite a few balls from flying into Melia's direction.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he does against Werner as well. To be fair, the pace on that man up against Cooper and Llorente is going to be a real test for him. And obviously, last time, I think he only played about 8 minutes of that game, didn't he? When it was Chelsea was his debut, I think. So we've got Bamford, we've got Llorente. Chris is going last because it's his debut. So we'll go. We'll go with Phil. Phil next.
I've got a bit of a cop out. I'm going. If you want a one-on-one battle, it has to be Bielsa beating Tuchel.
Not another 0.5.
It's not.
It was a player he asked for.
Oh my God!
It's the same thing.
Bielsa's not playing. He's not on the bench yet.
The decision that he makes regarding Klich and Dallas, my player would be Dallas, but only if Dallas plays in midfield and not a left back.
Okay, that's a good one. Now give me a player.
I've got Dallas.
Oh, Dallas, right, okay.
That's if Bielsa does what I hope he does.
Right, okay, fair enough. So Dallas into midfield, yeah. Trust Phil, Oscar, to throw a spanner in the work. Madness, Oscar.
I was actually going to say Llorente, to be fair. I was genuinely going to say Llorente, but I'm going to go something different. I'm going to say Lukaku.
So you can give...
No, you just criticised him a minute ago. Saying it's as if, he makes
I think he will win that battle.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Luke Ayling. I'm going to pick out Luke Ayling. I think last couple of games, for two reasons. Last couple of games, he's not been bad. I just think he's been maybe a little bit average by his standards last couple of games. I think there are two reasons. We need him at his best going forward to support Rafinha, because I think him and Rafinha against Alonso or Chilwell, I think there's a mismatch there. I think that's the only way we get regular chances is from that right-hand side, getting those two combining. And defensively, of course, he's probably going to be up against Mount, Werner, Hudson-Odoi. They're all going to move around. This is the thing with Chelsea, the 3-4-2-1. They all pop up in different areas. It's very kind of interchangeable in terms of position. So the man marking system is going to be a bit chaotic because sometimes Mount will go to centre forwards, Havertz will pull over to the left, Hudson-Odoi will go to the wing. It's going to be all over the place. So for me, Luke Ayling is going to be very, very key in terms of when he does come up 1v1 against Werner, Hudson-Odoi. I just think Luke Ayling. I would have gone Llorente, but I'm going to say Luke Ayling.
Nice, good shout. Yeah, I think you make a good point about him being down the right hand side. He's probably tracking Mount over on the left wing somewhere or something. It's going to be mad, isn't it? Chris, I was hoping that you were going to run out of options, but I think you've been left with probably our best player, so it's quite an easy pick, unless you're going to mix it up for us.
I am, and no one has picked the person who I thought of right at the beginning, and that is Jack Harrison.
Nice.
And the reason is, I think the last couple of games, we've been too reliant on Rafinha. We need another option. So we need the left-hand side charging like the right-hand side does. Otherwise, all Chelsea will do is swarm around Rafinha and be like, we close him down, job's done. We need Jack doing exactly the same. Not doing exactly the same. He hasn't got the skill set that Rafinha's got, I think, but he's got stuff there. He's a grafter. That first touch is world class, and I won't be told otherwise.
No, agreed.
If he gets at their outside centre back, he can cause them an issue. So we have an informed Jack Harrison and an informed Rafinha on the other side. Then we've got a chance.
I mean, Chris, do you see? I personally see Kante potentially. Tuchel saying to Kante, "Go and follow Rafinha all around that pitch." I can see that possibly happening because I think Tuchel will look at that from a defensive point of view and think, "Stop Rafinha." Harrison, Alioski, not in great form at the minute on that left-hand side. I can see him focusing all the attention over to that right, and it might just leave that little bit of space on that left-hand side. Who knows?
Yeah, I agree, mate. Yeah, it'd be good to see Jackie Aridona flying again as well, because I love him.
Yeah. If they're going to man-mark anyone, though, surely the clever way to beat Leeds is just to man-mark Calvin Phillips.
Which is, for me, Phil, which is why Rodrigo's got to start, and we bypass Phillips into Rodrigo, and then it goes from Rodrigo.
Yeah. Well, if you look at that, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did it perfectly. He just had Bruno Fernandes just taking Calvin way out in the middle of the park, and there was just, Calvin was too busy.
He's not a problem.
Eh?
If he's not in front of our defence, then he's not a problem for them. And obviously, he's one of our best players. So I think an easy way to beat Leeds is to drag Calvin away from there.
Yeah, which is why, as we remember, right at the beginning, we need Stewie in there as well because he's legs as well as Calvin.
Yeah, tenacious, tenacity. Love that.
Tenacity.
Love that. Tenacity. Right. Well, Chris went for 2-1. We'll end with some score predictions. I'm going to follow Chris and go for 2-1 as well. Rhiannon.
1-1.
1-1. Oscar.
Go for a Desmond, 2-2. I'm standing by it. I think Chelsea will be tested defensively tomorrow like they haven't been so far this season. The high press will cause Jorginho the odd problem if he plays, or Kante. They'll probably score from a set piece if Thiago Silva plays, or they'll score from a set piece anyway. 2-2, and I'd take that.
Yeah, Silva's out injured, so we've no worries there. But there's the rest. They could
still. Who scored? Was it Zuma who scored last time?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Zuma scored, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And Phil, Mr. Positive, end on a positive.
Why are you doing that to me before?
Because I'll tell you for why. Every time we pose a question, you want to change up the rules.
I'll tell you what Phil's prediction is. 1.5, 2.5, Chelsea.
Why don't
they'll score half a goal?
Should we just? I'll tell you what, Phil. Don't give us a score prediction. Give us your predicted XG.
That's what I was about to say. I reckon on XG it'll be about 2-2, 3-2 to Chelsea, and then I don't need to give you a scoreline.
What? Because XG matters more.
Well, to me, yeah, it's how we play, so I'm judging it on that. I'm going to ignore the scoreline tomorrow.
So you think Brighton are the fourth best team in the league?
I've seen that. That was mad, wasn't it? That graph based on expected points.
But that's also based on expected goals conceded as well. You've got to filter everything in, not just goals.
I get called a granddad when I make my comments on XG. But if you seriously think Brighton are the fourth best team in the league, then fair enough. But that tells me enough.
They're even in the top 15 in the league.
Well, there you go. But honestly, I'll get stick now because I'm going to criticise XG because Brighton are not the fourth best team in the league. I don't care.
I think we'll lose.
We're getting a lot of people in the chat saying that, do you think you will score that many? We've been so great, etc., etc. Chelsea fans, watch out. Leeds United will create, and if we're on it, we will score, and hopefully we'll win the game. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But thank you to my lovely panel, as always, regulars, Chris Kelly, Rhiannon, Oscar, Phil, and myself. We'll be back with you at 8 o'clock for Before the Whistle Blows. It's going to be a fun show because obviously we've got DJ Hal Stewart, probably in tears after Chris Wilder's got the boot.
He's got the job, I heard. He's got the job over Heckingbottom. His last time I heard.
The brilliant thing is that Heckingbottom's going to be the man taking charge, I think, at the weekend. We've got the North London derby to chat about. Top 4 clash. Who's going to get in there? Man United, West Brom, of course. Leeds, Chelsea. And then we'll chat about Liverpool and Wolves as well. So keep it locked to All Leeds TV. We'll see you back here at 8 o'clock. Then we'll be here nice and bright and early for your live lineups and watch along and player ratings and post-match, all that tomorrow as well, which the gang will be joining us for as well. So keep it locked to All Leeds TV as per. Smash a like on the stream and we'll see you in a bit.
Don't forget the outro.
I was going to say, yeah, Oscar, I missed the intro, you'd be feeling it.
Yeah.
I just sat there like that and I thought, something's supposed to be happening here. And then I realised, cool. Play that track.